Okay, so our next section in Unit 10, we started off talking about how to write polynomials. It has a first name and last name, and how to add and subtract. So our next section in Unit 10, we're going to talk about multiplying polynomials. But I'm going to break this concept up into two parts because it kind of depends on what two polynomials you're multiplying as far as how you do it. So today, we're going to focus on multiplying monomials to anything else, and binomials and trinomials. So that's pretty much what we're going to focus on today. Now, there's two things that you need to remember from prior work in this class, two very important concepts that you have to remember, and hopefully you do well. And they are, if you look at your notes, you need to know how to use the distributive property. And we've talked about the distributive property way back in quarter one, but you've used it all year and you're going to use it in all your other math classes. But you've got to know that when you distribute, that means that everything inside your parentheses is multiplied by what's on the outside. So that's the first thing you got to remember. Second information that's prior knowledge is you've got to remember that first rule I taught you in Unit 9, your exponents. You've got to remember when you are multiplying like bases, you always add the exponents. So that's going to come up in this lesson because your like bases are going to be your x squareds. Or if you have just x terms or whatever, you're going to be multiplying something x squared times something x squared. Or you're going to be multiplying something times x times something times x. So you've got to remember that we would add those exponents to get your product. Basically, those are the two things that you need to remember for today's lesson. If you do well on those, and you should do well on multiplying monomials and trinomials and binomials and trinomials or whatever we're doing today. So let's go ahead and look at example 1 so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. Letter A, you have a binomial. I'm sorry, that's not a binomial, that's a monomial times a binomial. All right? So we have 3x times the quantity 2x plus 1. Monomial times a binomial. So basically what we're going to do is multiply everything inside here, your 2x and your positive 1, times 3x. So that's 3x times 2x, okay? And 3x times positive 1. So I'll break it down. 3x times 2x and 3x times 1. All right? Well, let's break it down. 3 times 2 is 6, right? X times itself is x squared, right? Because you're combining those exponents. You're adding the exponents. 3x times 1 is just 3x, right? This is a positive 1. That's a positive 3. So that should be plus 3x. So the product of 3x times 2x plus 1 is 6x squared plus 3x. That's letter A. All right? Now, let's try another one because you're only going to get this if you practice. Letter B is 2x, that's your monomial, times the quantity x minus 2. This means that everything outside the parentheses is going to be multiplied by 2x. So I'm going to distribute the 2x to the x and the 2x to negative 2. All right? Now, we're going to break this down because this is new to you. But I promise you by the time you get to geometry and your other levels, math classes, you'll be doing this in your head. So I got 2x times x, and I got 2x times negative 2. All right, 2x times x, there's an invisible 1 here, so that's saying 2. X times x is x squared. How do I know that? Because I added my exponents. All right, I added my exponents. 2 times 2 is just negative 4. And then I just slap that x on because it's just 2x times negative 2. That's negative 4x. So I bring that over. My entire answer is 2x squared.